What is going on, guys? It's Riv for Wolfpack Productions back with another game show review. And we're going back to Britain, so make sure you have your passport and make sure not to fall over the edge. As we're going to take a look at one of my favorite British game shows. Roll that intro. Anyway, over to... Oh well. Too unique for us, perhaps? Anyway, we're going to pause right here. Actually, no, we're not. I'm going to let y'all see the whole round to see how it works. Basically, it's a chase to the top of the podium. Every time he reads a question, if you get it right, your ball rises. And in each round, you need one more correct answer to push your ball up, except the final, where you need 4 correct answers per question to... Well, we'll get to that when we get there. So this is broken up into 3 question rounds and 3 lane rounds, as I call them. Or 3 edge rounds sounds better. We'll explain those when we get there, or I'll let Mark explain them when we get there. Main part of the round. And again, I'll let the presenter do it. I'll let the presenter explain because he can do it better than me. Once a player releases their ball, they get to pick whatever lane they want to use. You have the green lane is the shortest, then you have the blue, the yellow, and the red is the longest. The shortest lane has the longest edge. The red lane will have the shortest edge. That, of course, will help when you get to the next round. Musically, the show basically just reuses parts of the theme song that you heard earlier in the intro. And it fits. I like the whole techno-trancey kind of thing that they have going on here. I kind of wish more sets here in the US would actually use stuff like that. So as we can see here, Louise is going to be the one that releases her ball next because she didn't need much more. Now, as I'm not playing the sound for copyright reasons, you're not going to know who picked what lane until the lane round. Or the, let's call it the edge rounds. The only time I will be playing sound here is when Mark is explaining the rules. But basically, the rules to the question round are going to be the same every time, except you need one more answer to complete the question. And in the next lane round, I think the values stay the same. The edge is what's doubled. Round 1, 1,000. Round 2, 2,000. I believe round 3, 3,000. These actually, I believe, carried over to the Gabby Logan season, which we'll be looking at later. And the show had no returning champions in either version. I want to say that's something that British game shows had in common that I've seen anyway. None of them had returning champions. Except for the old school ones like, your Family Fortunes and your things like that. Oh, and since I mentioned Family Fortunes, I might as well say Tacky. That clip is floating around YouTube if y'all want to see it, didn't know what I mean. It came from Family Fortunes and has been in just about every game show highlight reel you can think of. And so we're going to throw it back.
Or 2 beats. So Loretta, you picked the green lane because it was short. Can we expect a short ball from you?
We'll see.
Have you got...
All right, so what he didn't say is if you don't get into at least the 10-pound zone, you get a pound. I would have changed that to... I would have had that equal with the Gabby Logan version where you don't get anything if you don't get into the cash zones. Also, he'll make mention of this in a minute, but there also is 1 danger zone in this particular round and 2 in the next. I believe in this round, it's up to... No, it's the next round, you get a danger zone. The next round after that is 2 for the first person to claim a lane. First round, you can put it anywhere you want. I think. First round, either they had a button. One of the rounds, they had a button that would stop it randomly. That's in the 2 danger zone round that they had a button that'd stop it randomly. The first round, you could put it anywhere you want and move it at least once. Second round, I don't think I ever saw anybody moving the danger zones, but you could do it. And we'll discuss the final when we get there. Basically, what a pound or no pound roll or going over the edge equated to was a wasted roll, in my eyes. But you couldn't help it if your ball went over the edge. Actually, you could. The players that went over the edge usually rolled too fast, and the ones that didn't get into the cash zones, were the ones that would roll too slowly and too cautiously. You have to find, that happy medium between too cautious and way too cautious and too fast. Too slow, too fast is what I'm saying. Like that's a good example right there. She hits the pound. She gets the pound. Or if she were in the Gabby Logan version, she'd get squat. For us American viewers, she'd get squat. Need to show the question round again. Same thing with the lane round, really. All right, so again, the idea here: get your ball on the edge, but the edge is bigger in this round, depending on how many questions you got right. I've seen people get 8 right and hit it. I've seen people get 2 right and hit it in this series. So 3 is very doable for this guy. But hosting wise, I think as I was more introduced to the series, I was not much of a fan of Mark Benton. He's what's the terminology I'm looking for? He's grown on me. I like the fact that he kind of razzes the contestants a little bit. Reminds me of a Ray Combs of sorts, or even a Steve Harvey. To use Fast Family Feud hosts. Or in some forms of Pat Sajak, like in the infamous "This is Wheel of Fortune" joke. Anyway, the idea again is to hit the edge. Then you're walking away with however much money you ended up playing for. Alright, so here he did not stop on the edge, which means he's playing for $11.75. That was 1 roll. Which means that this is basically it for him. He doesn't get anything. Anyway, with that said, we're going to go over to my segment on how I would revive this if I could. We'll see. So, how would I revive this if I could? I'd make it closer to the Gabby Logan version. Rules-wise, that was the better version. Host-wise, I think Mark beats her by just a little bit. And I'd honestly bring back Mark Benton. Because like I said, his hosting was better. And I'd make the edge worth 10, 25, and possibly 50,000 in the final round, with the values reflecting that as they go down. Anyway, keep everything else the same because this was a great show, and obviously bring it to the US. You can currently watch this on Plex on BBC game shows Saturdays here in the United States. It's on all day. Anyway, this has been Riv.